What is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Monday, June 12th of 2023. Let's hop right into it, shall we? So, at the first look, at the onset looking of this day, at the transit of the day, there's not really a whole lot going on. It was really this weekend. Of course, I'm just getting my eye. It was really this weekend that saw a lot of the major aspects. Pluto coming back into Capricorn, Mercury coming into Gemini. So it was definitely a lot of shifting energy this past weekend. Monday, there's not really a whole lot going on, at least at the first look at it, right? We have this moon that's going to be in Aries today, still in a sign that's kind of fired up. Mind you, it's in the sign where Chiron has been for a while. And this is going to be sort of like the major thing that I'm looking at today is when this moon conjuncts over to Chiron. And this sort of emotionally over identifying with our wounding, that's really what I see this as. Of course, we do have the sun still in Gemini, right? And it's now in that third decan of Gemini too. So definitely still wanting to express via our curiosities, wanting to really kind of get out there, communicate, meet people, have those conversations, if you will. And then, of course, we do have Venus here, which is in Leo at 6 degrees, still within a 2-degree orb to Jupiter with the square. Remember, this is going to be just the first square of several that's going to be happening between Venus and Jupiter. And what's interesting too is that these two energies are considered the benefics, right? They're considered for the most part very positive planets. So not only that, but Venus would like to be where Jupiter is in Taurus, and Jupiter would probably prefer to be where Venus is in Leo. Venus being a ruler of Taurus, and Jupiter, while it's not a ruler of Leo, it is a fire sign still, right? And Jupiter, in many ways, is like our own mini. It's like a second sun, if you will. It's on its way to becoming a sun. So there's somewhat some mutual reception between these two energies, but they are still going to be squaring each other. But Venus is done with the major aspects that it had, with of course the opposition to Pluto, the square to the nodes, and squaring Jupiter. So Venus is sort of kind of out of the woods, but not really. We got to remember that Venus is still moving slow. Venus is going to retrograde in Leo, so even though Venus is sort of like having a bit of a sigh of relief that it's done with some of these major aspects that it's got. I mean, it still has the King Kunks over to Saturn, but it's sort of like, oh, I finally can kind of rest now, especially with it being in Leo, and Leo's at the heart of summer. This is when I was saying that, like, the whole hot girl summer thing might not exactly go according to plan this year, especially considering the fact that it's going to be retrograding in this sign. So, you know, I think that today can definitely be a positive day. I think it can definitely feel like a bit of a sigh of relief after a lot of these and more intense energies and intense shifts that we have been dealing with. Now, as you move this moon forward, by the time that you get later on into the day, so yeah, we'll have the moon. It'll make a nice trine over to Mars. Early in the morning, like 9:15 a.m. It'll make that trine over to Mars. A little bit early in the morning if you're on the West Coast, of course. But it'll be at 13 degrees, mind you. So, that's a nice little aspect right there, of course. Anytime that you have a trine, especially with these energies and fire signs, it's definitely going to be able to fire things up and kind of initiate some great things. So, definitely a nice energy to kind of get. We'll have like a nice little boost earlier, in the mid morning, at least here on the East Coast. West Coast, you guys will be pretty much waking up to this energy too. So that'll be kind of nice. You guys kind of get like a nice little boost when you wake up. The moon in Aries, it's about feeling yourself. It really is. But, you know, the moon in Aries also can lend to random bouts of just kind of like I don't want to say rage, but just random bouts of like emotional. This could be emotional outbursts potentially with the moon being in Aries, especially with the influence of Chiron here. This could be emotional outbursts when it comes to our wounding and, trying to figure out who exactly it is that we are. We have to remember too that the North Node is coming to Aries very soon, very soon. We all are going to be called to really know who we are, and that's where spirit's going to be guiding us. So even though, like I said, this moon trining over to Mars is a nice aspect with it, being this fiery, hopefully initiating kind of energy. If we're not careful, there could be some emotional outbursts today. So as you continue to move that moon forward, of course, it will make the conjunction to Chiron at 19 degrees, 16 minutes exactly. This will be happening at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you got to also remember this is the degree that Chiron is going to retrograde at. The moon will conjunct Chiron one more time before Chiron does actually come retrograde at this degree. What's interesting too is that the next time that this moon comes back around and actually hits Chiron, the North Node will be very close to shifting into Aries. The Sun will be about midway through Cancer at that point. Mars will be at the end of Leo, and Venus will be soon retrograding, as will Chiron. It's actually very interesting. I need to make a video on the Lionsgate this year because this Lionsgate is going to see now, normally the Lionsgate is just the sun moving into Leo, right? So it's something that we always track in astrology and stuff like that. Some Lionsgates are more intense than others. This year's Lionsgate is definitely going to be more intense than others that we've had in the past. So probably going to be making like a special video on that one in general because there's a lot of shifts that happen around that time. But what you do need to know for today is that the moon will conjunct Chiron at 19 degrees at 7:15 p.m. This is the degree that Chiron is retrograding at. So it's not so it's almost sort of like an aspect where emotionally we don't even know if we can get past this aspect. We don't even know if we can get past the 19 degrees. Now, what is 19? One is the sun, nine is Mars. So they combine to a 10, of course, which 10 at this point, it is a number of Taurus in the earth, so it's about a manifestation, but it still reduces back to the one. Anything that has a nine at the end reduces back to the number, reduces back to that first number. So this is still going to come down to the sun. This is still going to come down to like your spirit. It's going to come down to the way that you really express yourself unabashedly, the purity of who you are. It's still going to come down to that. Like I said, we have Mercury. At this point, when these two conjunct, Mercury will be at 2 degrees of Gemini, about halfway through it. So Mercury is moving forward. It's moving fast. It's going to start uncovering a lot of different things and sending all these different messages to us, right? Mercury, we got to remember, is a messenger energy, right? So now that it's at home in Gemini, it's going to be super excited because it can actually really do what it's wanting to do. This is sort of like, I think really what today is going to be an auspiciously quiet day that has the potential to have maybe some emotional outbursts. But I think there's a way that we could potentially channel this emotional energy into something more creative. I think that's really what you want to do today is that you want to channel this energy into something that is more creative, something that's going to actually, benefit you and benefit the collective ultimately, right? So, but the way that you benefit the collective ultimately is by knowing who you are ultimately, right? We don't have any Aquarius energy. You remember we had so much Aquarius energy for the longest time, and now that Pluto has retrograded back into Capricorn, we have no Aquarius energy, right? And and then we have Pisces energy, but it's Saturn and Neptune, and they're about to come retrograde, right? So look at all of the energy that's in personal planets. It's all impersonal. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. All this energy is in the first 5 signs of the zodiac. These are so that's the whole thing about it too, is that if we're not careful, a lot of things that we may see in the outside world and the larger collective we could, if we're not careful, we can start to take a lot of these things personally. That's the other thing too about the moon and Chiron too, is that this is people taking things personally, potentially. Things that they don't necessarily have to take personally either. So, but the universe is definitely pointing us to kind of focusing on our world, our inner world, and what we can do to change that, because that's the only way that we're going to change the collective. We got to remember that society is built, if you break down the building blocks of a society, it all comes back to you. It all comes back to the individual. It goes from individual to families, and then families to neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods to towns, to cities, and blah blah blah, right? So that's what it all comes down to. We are being called to focus on the basic building blocks of society right now, because we can see that what we have built is collapsing. We can see that what we have built does not work anymore and is not a vibrational match for where humanity is trying to go to. Now, of course, there's going to be aspects where there's going to be energy that wants to pull people back into that old world with with Pluto going back into Capricorn. There's going to definitely be a pull to come back into it, and they're going to be dangling like little incentives, but these incentives are going to be empty. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that they're not. They're not going to yield the fruit that they used to yield. And that's the other part about it too. All of the things that, all of these different incentives that we have been given and told that we would have, a lot of that is drying up. A lot of those fruits are drying up. And I think what's happening here is that there could be some frustration about feeding into that system over the years and giving and paying into that system over the years, only for us to see that it doesn't go anywhere and doesn't really benefit us. This is when you create something new, a new system. You can make something for yourself, something that's going to be sustainable, something that's really going to matter, because ultimately, we are here to evolve. We're not necessarily here to make a whole bunch of money and then pay taxes and all that sort of stuff. We're not here to do all that stuff. You know, we do that stuff, but we're not here to do that stuff. We are here to evolve, and we're here to experience. So yes, there definitely can be some frustrations of, paying into a system that we're not going to see the benefits of. But do we really want the benefits of a system that's no longer serving us and no longer serving humanity anyways? So we need to understand that the past is the past, and it's time to move forward. Ultimately, it is time to move forward. Um, that's pretty much what I got as far as like the astrology goes. Like I said, this is like a shorter video too. This is an auspiciously quiet day. You know, um, I think that this moon over Chiron, like I said, we're going to see it one more time before it retrogrades, and then Saturn's going to retrograde soon. Neptune's going to retrograde soon. Venus is going to retrograde soon. We have a lot of energies that are about to retrograde, so it's going to be this is going to be an interesting time. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure. Let's go ahead and get the cards for the day too. So yeah, I think the way that we really get through today is by not allowing any frustrations to come in and take hold of our energy and take hold of our being, because you know we can always be like, I could have done this, I could have done that, shoulda, coulda, woulda. We always could go into that space, but what we can do is be like, you know what, just make the decision to be different, make the decision to change, make the decision to, instead of complaining about that, to take that energy and create with it, do something different, channel it into something that's going to be more beneficial for your soul, your spirit, and by extension the collective, right? So I'm using my mystical manga tarot deck. I've been looking for this deck for a little bit. I have so many decks, y'all. So it's like this one was it's kind of hidden underneath a lot of the other ones. There's another deck that I have that's like, probably will use that deck next week. One of my more that's one of my I mean, cards are spiritual in general, but that's one of my spiritual decks. Like it's a deck that's like, yeah. But let's see what we got for today, y'all. Shorter video today, for sure. Like I said, it's not really like a whole lot major stuff going on. We had those over the weekend, so I have the Page of Cups in reverse, followed by the Hangman. Oh wow, yeah, Page of Cups in reverse, followed by the Hangman. Yeah, so definitely emotionally things could be a little bit off today, especially with that Hangman. There's definitely going to be a little bit of restlessness, a little bit of like I said, because it's such an auspiciously quiet day, and we're kind of wanting things emotionally, especially to change. And with the Hangman there, we definitely have to have patience. We definitely have to just trust the universe and trust that we're being guided in the right direction. Otherwise, we may say the wrong things today. We may make some rash actions. And I don't think these are going to be actions that are going to be like major. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to cause like major domino effects per se, but definitely potential for like some misunderstandings today emotionally where we are wanting to feel like all the way there. And we're wanting to kind of have the big picture, but the universe is still, we're still being told to have some patience and to just kind of go with the flow of things today. You know what I mean? I'll draw one more card. Yeah, we have the Knight of Swords. We have the Knight of Swords. So if we're looking for some type of clarity, we really have to we have to kind of think things through, you know? You see him, he's just kind of ready for battle, but he's not. There are different aspects of this card. There's some cards that show him charging into battle. This one, he is sort of meditating, if you will. Like he's like kind of on the battlefield. He's like meditating. He's getting ready for battle. So he's cool, calm, and collected. So this is definitely a day where we're going to want to just be kind of calm and collected about it. If things may feel a little bit off emotionally and stuff today, and we're feeling a little restlessness, we just gotta kind of calm down and just meditate and take our time with things. Trust the universe. The other card that we have for today, we have the card of change. The frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and birth of the new. So, yeah, this is definitely change is on the horizon. We all can feel it. There are going to be some days where we can feel the change more than others. And on those days where we don't necessarily feel as much change, we can almost, especially if you're on the path, you can almost sort of want to force the change. It's not a day where you really want to force the change, especially with the Hangman here, too. This is not a day where you want to force a change. Just allow the change to happen, allow the day to continue, allow the day to move on, and just dance with it. Dance with the flow and just be you. That's all you can do. That's all you can do is just be you, be authentic. So that's going to do it for this video today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. Be sure to check out all of my videos here. Hit the bell so you can receive all the notifications. And yeah, look out for all the other cool content I'm going to be bringing your way. Y'all have a lovely week, a lovely start to the week, a wonderful motivational Monday. I trust that you all will have a great week. I'll see you on the next video. Later.